Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Le'ira Online Smicha. The Rebbe instructed that during these times, 3 weeks to 9 days, we should learn Inyanim of Bais Hamikdash, learning of Inyanim of the Bais Hamikdash. And the Rebbe points out in one place that it's not only because like this we'll be prepared b'meheira v'yameinu to know what to do when Mashiach comes. It actually, according to the Midrashim, when you learn the Inyanim of Bais Hamikdash, you're actually fulfilling the mitzvah of building the Bais Hamikdash, which is a gewaldige thing. So the Rebbe points out that in the Rambam, in Hilchos Bais Hamikdash, we find a very fascinating thing. The Rambam has Hilchos Bais Hamikdash is broken up into 8 prakim, and the total of the halachas of Hilchos Bais Hamikdash is 137. 130 halachas in the whole Hilchos Bais Hamikdash. And the Rebbe in one of the Ha'aras says, what's the significance of 137? Says the Rebbe, that is the age that the Torah tells us that Levi, the son of Yaakov, Levi passes away at 137 years old. And it's the descendants of Levi and his descendants were chosen to serve in the Bais Hamikdash. And it's interesting to note that the Rambam in Hilchos Chanukah also says a similar thing. In Hilchos Chanukah Perek Gimel Halacha Yud Beis, the Rambam says what's the way you say hallow? So the Rambam says how hallow, the tradition of hallow was being said in the Bimei Chachamim Harishonim. And the Rambam says there was the Chazan said aloud and the people responded Hallelujah many times. And the Rambam in Halacha Yud Beis in Hilchos Chanukah says, if you count up how many times people would respond, how many times would people say Hallelujah during Hallel? 123 times they would say Hallelujah during Hallel. What's the significance? Simin lahem shnoisav shel Aaron. That's the years how old Aaron was when he passed away. So everything has a rhyme and a reason. So back to Hilchos Bais Hamikdash, the 137 halachas of Bais Hamikdash are corresponding to the years of Levi, who his descendants were the ones who were chosen to serve in the Bais Hamikdash. Now I'm going to talk today about one specific halacha that actually has to do with also this week's Pharshas Pנחas, where in the Parsha it talks about the carbon tamid. One of the great things that we find about the carbon tamid, the consistency, whereas many carbonas that are not must to be given right away don't desecrate Shabbos. You're not allowed to break them on Shabbos. But the ones that are consistent, the carbon tamid shel shachar, tamid shel bein ha'arbayim, they, if I use the word, override the mitzvah of Shabbos. Meaning, despite the fact that on Shabbos there are so many malachas that you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to do shchita. Shchita is one of the lamates malachas, and skinning, and so many parts of the process of the tamid is not in a private home. You're not allowed to do it, but in the Bais Hamikdash it's allowed because the Torah says b'moyadai on its fixed time. It has to be brought. Rain, snow, shine, Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur. Every day we need this carbon. And the Rebbe asks a fascinating question. I don't get it. From one hand, you just told me that the carbon tamid should be brought every day, even on Shabbos, despite the Isurim. From the other hand, when Moshe Rabbeinu told us the mitzvah of building the Bais Hamikdash, even before he told us that mitzvah, the Torah says he tells us the mitzvah of Shabbos, because we have to know that binyan Bais Hamikdash, to build the Bais Hamikdash, doesn't desecrate Shabbos. You're not allowed to desecrate the Shabbos. So here, what's the logic? To build the Bais Hamikdash, you're not allowed to desecrate Shabbos. But once the Bais Hamikdash is built, now the karbonos that are needed, how does that balance itself out? And the Rebbe establishes a beautiful thought. And the Rebbe says, up to the time it becomes Bais Hamikdash, I'm sorry, there is the rules of Shabbos that you have to keep before there's a Bais Hamikdash. Once the building is built, once the edifice is built, and now it's a holy place, nothing that takes place in the Bais Hamikdash is considered Chilul Shabbos, because every part of the Bais Hamikdash is considered holy, And whatever has to be done based on the Torah's instruction is not considered chilul. And therefore, you're allowed to shech the carbon and do whatever is needed for the Bais Hamikdash, for the process that the Torah wants in the Bais Hamikdash, because in the Bais Hamikdash it's not considered desecrating. And with this, the Rebbe answers another discussion, another halachic discussion. The Cha'ira, the Rambam says that every morning, before the process of the new avodah of the day started, early morning in Alois HaShachar, a kohen would go around, looking around, taking a routine around the whole Bais Hamikdash to make sure all is fine. And when the kohen would do that, they would be carrying torches, like we would do flashlights, but back then they would carry torches, walking around the whole Bais Hamikdash. And when the kohenim who did that route met at a certain point, starting point, and everything was fine, they said shalom. They said shalom hakol shalom. Everything is peace. And the Rebbe says, first of all, I don't understand what you're saying. Shalom hakom. The right word is everything is fine, nothing is missing, nothing is stolen, nothing is broken. What does it mean? Shalom hakol shalom. And second of all, the Rambam says that when these kohenim walked around with the torches, they were only allowed to walk around with the torches during the week. On Shabbos, they're not allowed to walk around with the torches. On Shabbos, they had to just walk around without holding the torches, because holding a torch is muktzah, and muktzah is not allowed on Shabbos. Says the Rebbe, I don't get it. First of all, we have conflicting halachas if there was shvus bebeis hamikdash. Shvus bebeis hamikdash means anything which is only prohibited midrabanan. We find in many halachas that in the Bais Hamikdash there is no gezerah derabanan. So if the whole carrying of the torch is a gezerah, is muktzah, which muktzah is only midrabanan, in the Bais Hamikdash there is no such thing. You don't have all those concerns. The Rabbanan make gezerahs, but not in the Bais Hamikdash, where people mindset are very clear not to fall into any trap. And second of all, how does that stem with what we said before, that even the carbon could be shechted, the carbon tamid? So others, the Kesef Mishnah says that the reason they didn't have to carry torches because ultimately there were other lights there. There were permanent torches there. So why, if you could avoid it, avoid it. But the Rebbe points out that the point is the same point. The Bais Hamikdash was a place where everything about the Bais Hamikdash was showing honor and respect, not for the fact that it's so beautiful, so goldy, has gold and silver. That's not even the reason why we have the Shomrim standing there. It's to show honor and respect to the place. This is where God's presence is. And if that's it, everything about it, even the smallest detail about it, is showing how we're doing it above and beyond. And that's why when the Kohanim meet, they're not saying, oh, nothing is missing. They're saying, Sholem, Hakol Sholem. Everything is at a high level. Everything is very honorable. Everything is very special. And we're ready to get to do the work. And Uvechein, says the Rebbe, even though if you're going to twist my arm, there are halachic rules that you could overlook the Isuri the Rabbanan here. Nevertheless, when we're trying to do something in a holy place, we have to do it in the best possible way, without loopholes. I know halachically I could get around this, but we're not looking for a loophole. Similar to, says the Rebbe, similarly to the halacha of the Nes Chanukah, where the olive oil that they found, before they found the miraculous one that lasted for 8 days, they were allowed to use every oil. Why? Because since everything that they saw was available was tamei, there is halacha that tumah hutra b'tzibur. Nevertheless, the Eibishter made a miracle and says, in my Bais Hamikdash, we don't want second-class stuff. We want the person to go above and beyond to do everything picture perfect. And therefore, says the Rebbe, when it came to circling the Bais Hamikdash in the morning on Shabbos, despite the fact you were able to carry a candle or torch, because it's only the Rabbanan. But if the Rabbanan didn't want it, we wouldn't do it. There are so many other things that we're allowed to do in the Bais Hamikdash. Says the Rebbe, this is the point I said before. It depends when. things that are part of the holy edifice of the Bais Hamikdash, of the holy service, everything about it is holy, and there's no desecration. But things are like the circling in the morning is like the building of the Bais Hamikdash. Just like the building of the Bais Hamikdash doesn't desecrate Shabbos, so too the circulating around the Bais Hamikdash, even though there are loopholes, shouldn't desecrate Shabbos.